Hello, I'm old Mr. Kent, riding around on my tricycle telling my life story. And as I always say, if you're really bored, you want to see all the videos, at the end of this video there'll be a link that says life story. You can go back to there or click on that, and then you'll have a whole playlist of each video from the time I was born. All right, now yesterday, as the calendar goes, the last video I made, we had to jump ahead because I didn't want to miss out on the action of moving the fifth wheel that we lived in for 2 years of my life, moving it out to where it could be put for sale. So that was part of my life, and I didn't want to miss that. And my son wanted a video of getting it all done too. So between the two of us, that's the video that I put up last. So now we're going to go back in time. Pardon me. Sorry about that. Anyway, we'll go back in time to close around 1984. 1984? I'm sorry, 2004. I hope I can remember everything. So, 2004, somewhere in that area, okay? I was working for Walmart, and as I said, it was just I lived 2 blocks away from the Walmart, so it was an easy walk to work, and I enjoyed the job, had a good boss, and was just, I would have worked there a long time, except for, no. Anyway, so what happened was they were doing some remodeling in that store, and the hardware department where I worked was back in the as you went in the store, it was in the far right corner. It's in the corner, and so we had 2 walls of places to display merchandise, and then also some aisles and stuff like that. Some islands, I guess you'd say. And so they were doing some remodeling, and my department manager, name was Marshall, nice guy. He said, we need to take everything off of these shelves on this wall. Oh, by the way, if you ever notice when you go into a store like Walmart, they got the shelves along that display the items that you can buy, you can purchase. And then up above that, up maybe 8-10 feet probably, there's other shelves on up to the ceiling where they can store inventory, okay? And so for whatever reason, we needed to take everything we had on that upper shelf, move it off that wall, and then on the wall straight back from the door, that wall had a shelf up there, but there wasn't hardly anything on it. And so he said we need to get everything off of that shelf on this side, take it down, and put it up on the back wall on the shelf there. Now, the way the stuff was stored, sometimes you had 3 boxes stacked on top of each other and things like that. And so my job that morning was to take every box off of that shelf that was running along this way and move it over to the wall on the shelf on the wall straight back from the door. So I hope I've made a picture that you can see. And so I started doing that, and I can't remember how it went. I took all the boxes down for a while, and then I'd move the shelf or move the ladder and bring the boxes back up and stack them on the other wall, and then come back and take these boxes down and then move the ladder, take them back up on the ladder, and put them on that back wall. So now, in my last video, I got to pause right here, so don't go away. We're going to get back to that. In my last video, I was talking about, I just remembered, I said I'd tell you about this in the next video. When I was teaching at the computer school, there was this, they were like in their 30s, but it was a man and wife, and they were taking my class for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, and they were nice folks, and we had a lot of fun joking around. I even took them for an airplane ride. So anyway, back then, the browser that came with Microsoft Office, when you would type in, you want to go to mrkent.com, so you type that in, and you go there. And then next, let's say you want to go to walmart.com, and so you type in walmart.com, and then, but here's, well, as soon as you click up there to start typing Walmart, here was, it kept a record like mrkent.com. So if you wanted to go to mrkent.com again, you didn't have to type it in, you just click on that. And so you got Walmart, and then let's say you want to go to Costco. So all of those places that you went to, every time you click up there, they drop down in a list, okay? So you didn't have to type them in every time. And that was pretty handy. So one Sunday afternoon, I get this phone call from the guy, the man that's married to the lady, So I got that phone call, and he says, "I need your help." And I said, "What's that?" He says, "How do you get rid of that list in the drop down that shows where you've been browsing?" And I knew how to get rid of it. I said, "Well, why?" He says, "Well, my wife's been out of town, and I've been going to a bunch of porn sites, and they're all showing up." And I said, "Well, why do you do that?" So anyway, I got a dog barking at me here. Hope you can hear me okay. Lots of dogs now. So anyway, so he had gone to all these porn sites, and they showed the list. And he says, "How do I get rid of that?" Well, I thought I'd have some fun. I said, "I don't have a clue. I don't know how to get rid of that." "Oh, come on, nope, I don't have any idea how to do it." And I really didn't know right off. I knew kind of what to do. So anyway, I don't know whatever came of that. Maybe he figured it out on his own. But I thought about that in my last video, and I didn't have time to tell you. Okay, so now let's get back to Walmart. I'm going up and down the ladder. All right, now we're going to jump back in time to 1982, and that's on one of my life story videos. I had a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and I was in a terrible wreck. A guy turned in front of me, and my right leg was broken in several places. I was in the hospital for a total of 18 days, and they said I would probably never be able to walk without a cane or crutches or something. Of course, it turned out better than that. But anyway, so that knee, every once in a while it would hurt, so I had to be real careful with it and take care of it, otherwise I'd be in pain. What happened was, never mind, that's all right. So it was a painful deal. So I'm going up and down the ladder, and when I would go up the ladder, boy, we got all the dogs out this morning. When I would go up the ladder, my right knee was the one I was favoring, so I step up with my left leg and bring my right leg up, step up with my right leg, or my left leg, and bring my right leg up, just like a little kid going up the ladder. Step up with my left leg, drag my right leg up, and so forth, all the way up. And then when I go down, I did the same thing. So the left leg was doing all the work, going up and down. And then I had to move the ladder and put everything back up on the shelf. So I don't know, you can imagine from the time I got there, whatever it was, 8 o'clock something, until lunchtime. I walked home for lunch until lunchtime. So I got all that stuff moved between the time I got there and lunchtime. That's what I spent my whole time doing that. So, I don't know, 4 hours or something going up and down the ladder and favoring my right knee. So, came time for lunch, and I always walked home because I was only 2 blocks away. So I walk home for lunch and eat my lunch, and I'm coming back, and the parking lot had just a little bit of a slant to it as you come down to the front door. And so I'm walking, and I'm walking on that little slanted part, and all of a sudden, my left knee just basically collapses on me. I almost fall over, and I'm in pain. Now that's my left knee, the one I was using to protect the right knee. And so I limp on into the store and clock in, and then didn't, I knew it was hurting, but I could still walk on it, but it was a terrible mess. And so another dog. So my boss, he asked me, he says, what happened? I says, well, I was coming back from lunch, and my knee kind of gave out on me. And at first it didn't dawn on me until I was thinking about it after maybe 10, 15 minutes, is because I favored my right knee going up and down the ladder, and I messed up my left knee. So I can't remember all the details, but anyway, it was hurting really bad. In fact, my daughter and her family bought me a cane. I had that old wooden cane I carved, but I didn't want to use it at the store. So they bought me a nice cane, and I walked with that cane. And finally, it was hurting really bad. And I knew why. I knew because I was going up and down the ladder. So finally, I told, I said, I told my department manager, I said, I think I messed up my knee on the job, and it's really hurting. So I don't know if L&I, Labor and Industries, I don't know if they can pay for it or what, but it's really in bad shape. In fact, when I was home one night, I was sitting at the computer, and then I decided to turn around on my swivel chair, and oh man, all of a sudden it popped out again, and it hurt really bad. So Marshall said he'd check on it. And so then the HR lady, we'll turn around here. This is my neighborhood again. Put these down a little bit. The HR lady, she questioned me about it and everything. I says, I don't know, I've heard on the job, so I don't know if they want to pay for a doctor's appointment or whatever it's going to take, but it's really hurting. And so she said, well, I'll check on it. Well, so they asked me, when did your knee hurt? And I said, or when do you realize it was hurt or something like that? And I said, when I was walking back from lunch. And they said, oh, you weren't on the clock? And I said, no. And they said, well, the damage occurred when you weren't on the clock. And so I said, well, because I had to go up and down the ladder so many times before I went to lunch. Excuse me. And so we went around and around about that. And Walmart didn't want to pay for any doctor appointment or anything because it didn't happen, it didn't start, I didn't fall off my knee when I was on the clock. So I think the HR lady and my department manager and the area manager, I think they went to bat for me. And so Walmart said, all right, we'll have an L&I doctor examine you and see what he thinks. Now, these are the guys that are going to pay for everything if it has to be done. So they made an appointment, and so we go to this doctor's office. And remember now, this L&I doctor, he's used to putting up with people who are just trying to get free stuff, okay? Because there's a lot of people like that. So he came into the waiting room, and he said, All right, come on back. Well, my wife usually goes with me. And so she got up to come, and he says, no, you can't come in. And I said, well, she usually comes so she can, answer questions and stuff about my medicines and so forth. And he says, she can come in, but she cannot talk, cannot say a word. And so, okay, man, he was ready to fight, And so then he sets me up on a bench, and I tell him the story of everything that happened, how I was favoring my right knee because it's bad, and how the damage was created while I was on the clock, but it didn't show up when I was on my lunch hour, or till when I was on my lunch hour. So he said, all right. So so he grabs my left leg, which is the one that's hurting really bad, takes some measurements of my muscle and this and that and the other thing, and because I'm in my shorts, and so then he bends it out straight, bends it back, which was painful, and then he takes my right leg and he measures it, and he pulls it straight out, and of course it pops, and then he pushes it in, pulls it straight out, and it pops. Every time you pull it out, it popped. And he says, does that happen all the time? I says, yeah, that's was damaged in a motorcycle accident, and blah, blah, blah. And he says, okay. And in the meantime, I had to have my wife answer some questions, and so I said, can she tell you? And so he said, yeah, And so he said, but she's got to be quiet. So, so now my knee's popping every time he moves it. And then he goes back to the bad knee, and he says, this hurt? And I said, yeah, that hurts, Finally, he began to understand that I wasn't a crook. I wasn't trying to get something for free. I had bad legs, and I had injured my knee on my left leg going up and down the ladder. And so he finally loosened up and filled out a bunch of paperwork, had me sign a bunch of stuff, and he was smiling and stuff. So he goes to the door, because I got to get dressed again, So he goes over to the door, opens it, and starts to walk out, turns around, gives me a great big old smile, and he says, I'm going to okay this. And he walked out and closed the door. So as it turned out then, the meniscus, I don't know if you know what a meniscus is, but there's a picture. It's a little cushion between the lower leg and the upper leg, right at the knee joint. And what I had done was I had rolled up the edge of one of those. There's two of them, one on each side. I had rolled up the edge of one of the menisci, and so that I had to go in to have an operation where they go in and they trim the part that was rolled up and clean it up and everything. And they made a video of it while they were doing it and gave me the video. I don't know whatever happened to it. It'd be fun to have it now. Anyway, and so I got the operation and was off work for a week or so, and I went back to work. And the rules were I can never again walk or climb a ladder while I was working at Walmart. And so anyway, that's the story of my other bad knee. I have two bad knees now. So you think maybe I'm turning out to be a bad guy. So I'm running out of time. I'm just going to say that was just before I retired from Walmart, and I'll tell you about that in the next video. In the meantime, I want to thank you for watching my videos, and God bless.